joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make a whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger just a little.
Hello, and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio Comcast Cable Channel 23, Danbury, Connecticut, on this August 29th. As we get ready to flip the calendar to September and get this NFL season underway. Enough with the preseason. I mean, we want to start football. Do we really want to start football? Yes, of course we want to start football. I mean, I'm not going to ignore my baseball because the Red Sox maintain their first place situation. And we will not be ignoring baseball and all that, but we are ready for some football. Of course, preseason, final week of the preseason, week 4 of preseason starts tonight, ends on Saturday, Sunday, whatever they finish that whole thing up. So we will be ready to roll with the NFL full bore next week. We would be saying hello to our friend Mr. Bob Rowe Jr.
Seems I'm having technical difficulties.
Once again, he can never figure out his microphone, and he gets our show off to a brilliant start.
Ray, I got Ray on that.
But I will continue to babble. Bob's show, Spotlight On, is Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. You can see all he's got to bring to you. And our man Mike Toohey in the control room running things, trying to figure out Bob's microphone as we speak. His show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, re-airs Wednesdays at 1. Danbury Westerners Roundup, of course, is still airing through the summer.
Okay.
And that is on right after our show, Thursdays at 6:30, Fridays at 1:30.
We're back working now.
And Bob is back mic'd up. And Bob, he will get to watch with the rest of you the Westerners Roundup. We finally put together a 2-part special breakfast, their celebrity breakfast. So tonight we get a bunch of interviews next for the next 2 weeks, actually. And then we get to see Ron Darling's appearance after that. So if you're a Westerners fan, if you're a Ron Darling fan, make sure you tune in to Comcast Cable Channel 23 to watch those Westerners Roundup shows, and you will see what took place at the beginning of the year, the Amber Room there, and all the things that took place that day, and Ron Darling's nice little chat with the audience.
Yeah,
it was a great day.
Very well, good speaker.
Speaking of the Mets and baseball, we'll start right there. Bad news for the Mets. I know, and there we see our man right there, Bob Rowe Jr., and a former Met, Bobby Bonilla, who did make his way down to Rogers Park a couple times this year. That was nice of him to come down and see his son Brandon Bonilla pitch for those Danbury Westerners. But Bob, you could not be happy this week when you heard the news that Matt Harvey, the new ace, one of the top pitchers in the league, really.
He's going for Tommy John surgery, which means about 10 to 16 months.
The Mets just can't catch a break. If it wasn't for bad luck, they would have none at all. Really did not see this coming at all. And right there we see Daisuke Matsusaka. You can look forward to that as he came in and filled in for those Mets. Why on earth they went and picked up Daisuke, who hasn't pitched in the majors really all year, and they put him right into the fire.
Well, you got to throw him in the fire. Why not?
And there we see the bird flyeth away, Marlin Bird.
Yeah, and Buck.
And John Buck. How about this, Bob? This reminded me of John Franco Day when he got kicked out on John Franco Day. They trade Marlon Bird on Marlon Bird T-shirt night day.
Yeah.
It was Marlon Bird T-shirt night.
Yeah.
And they trade him to Pittsburgh. Who's going to take those T-shirts as he's not even in uniform anymore? It was like when John Franco got ejected by the ump on John Franco Day.
Yeah.
It was almost like, even if you want to go farther back, Steve Tasker, one of the all-time great special teams players of all time, on his final game of his NFL season, gets kicked out of the game on the opening kickoff on a special teams play.
Yeah.
How do you trade Marlon Bird on his T-shirt night? Yeah. Wait a day. And then he goes promptly and hits a nice 3-run homer for Pittsburgh.
Right.
Bye-bye, Birdie. Welcome to the Bird.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Bird.
What did we trade for? We traded for a minor leaguer and and cash and
prospects,
and
more prospects for the Mets.
But
back to Matt Harvey, terrible news. They have not officially announced that it will be Tommy John surgery. They're waiting for the swelling to go down, see how bad it is. They could just rehab it. But it's not good news when you got an elbow problem and you're Matt Harvey and you're the Mets who are looking to, build on this season, become even more competitive next season. That will be hard to do without Harvey as their ace.
I can tell you right now, we're not spending no money this year, so don't worry about it.
I mean, it's just so bad for the Mets. It's unbelievable. They're, what are the fans? When are the fans going to get rewarded for dealing with all this? I mean, hey, they pounded the Phillies today, salvaged a split of that 4-game series. They finished a homestand 3-6. So they've been falling back down in the standings. A good 13 games, 12 games below 500 now. So, that dream of inching closer to 500 and having a respectable end to the season has faded. Now Harvey's out.
Yep.
David Wright hasn't seen the light of day in how many weeks that's been. So the Mets are just a train wreck. Really, the National League is a train wreck. If it's not, the NL Central is compelling, but the two teams that don't win the division are going to make the playoffs. They're going to have to play that one-game playoff with the 2 wild-card spot. Cincinnati beat up on St. Louis last night. Pittsburgh could move back into a tie if they win tonight. Tight races right there. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, St. Louis flip-flopping back and forth. Cincinnati has been the team below those two top teams, but they're right there, close enough where they could slip in and they could take that division as well. So that's the only compelling drama. The Braves, the Dodgers, they're in cruise control already.
Hey, the Mets did great for the Braves, right? Took out
Hayward for them. That's a big negative for the Braves, but they're still playing well. How about Yasiel Puig getting pulled last night and benched? Donnie Baseball trying to send a message to the young Cuban hotshot. Sometimes they don't like the way he plays, and he got pulled last night. So that could be an issue for the Dodgers. They need to straighten that out. His talent is going to carry him through. I don't think they're going to pull him when it comes to playoff time.
I don't think so either.
No matter what he does, he could be lighting a Cuban cigar in the outfield. They're going to keep him in. Just as long as he hits game-winning homers in the 9th inning like he's done throughout the season. The AL, we have some drama in the AL. The Rays lost again to Anaheim, and they head out west to face Oakland tomorrow night. The Tampa did take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, who were feeling good about themselves before this road trip, where they've gone 2-4 as they welcome their El Capitan, Derek Jeter, back.
And of course, the A-Rod.
A-Royd, A-Fraud. He's chasing Say Hey Willie Mays. Home run. He's looking for a $6 million bonus if he passes him on that home run list.
Right.
He's inching closer and closer. And there we see him celebrating one of his home runs in a losing effort to Toronto as they lost 2 out of 3 to Toronto. Shocking development. That was because they had been pounding Toronto all season long, who rolled over, losing 4 straight. They used to see Phil Hughes, another disaster.
Oh, that's another.
And now what is really bad news for the Yankees is Kuroda is the one struggling. He was the one all year long who's been lights out. 3 in a row he's been ripped. Started up in Boston where he got ripped up there, and he has had 3 bad outings in a row now for Kuroda. That's bad news. Pettit has pitched better as of late, finally. He was struggling along with CeCe, who continues to struggle. Nova is just kind of whatever. Right. He's okay. He's not great. He's not bad. He's just there. But if Kuroda can't find his way back into top form, they really got troubles. They are, as we speak right now, 5 games behind Oakland, who were stunned today, going for a 4-game sweep in Detroit, and the Tigers rally for 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Torrey Hunter hits a 3-run homer to beat those Oakland A's. So Oakland was really feeling good about themselves, looking for a 4-game sweep. Still taking 3 out of 4 in Detroit is good for them as they head home to take on Tampa Bay tomorrow night. as they head back home, and they are still, fighting for that wild card spot, home field at least, and also in a dogfight with Texas. Texas continues to play well, 3-game lead on Oakland, so Oakland has to play better down the stretch. So there's some compelling action out west, compelling stuff with the wild card. Baltimore is sliding away. They are, 4 games out?
Yeah.
As they have lost the first 2 up in Boston. My Red Sox now move 3 games up on Tampa Bay in the AL East, and they could make that a full 3.5 games if they win tonight and finish the sweep of Baltimore. Great end to their road trip they had. That 16 games on the road and 19 stretch they had. They went 4-2 in San Francisco and LA, winning those final 2 games in LA, both nationally televised games. They're waiting, as we see right there, Buchholz. He's been inching closer and closer to making his return, which could make mute the point of whether Ryan Dempster can pitch or not.
Right.
We got that 4-game series in New York looming as the Yankees begin a 10-game homestand. Nice, notice the Red Sox, they get their trip to New York when the Yankees will be unpacked for a good 6 days before they arrive.
It isn't the opposite way when they just get
cozy in their beds in their home in a long homestand, where we do know last week where the Red Sox in the middle of 16 games on the road, they come home for 3 games to play the Yankees. The Yankees were home, go back home.
Yeah.
We went through that last week. We don't need to dig that up again.
We could still got the Dempster got how many games suspension?
It's 5 games suspended. They had 2 off days. It really didn't matter. They pushed him back anyways. He will pitch sometime this weekend against the White Sox. But that might be, he's not going to be long for the rotation if he doesn't pitch better, because Buchholz will be back. He might even return sometime this week. So he's got 1 more rehab start to go. And maybe he'll return in that Yankees series, as a matter of fact. That could be a possible landing point for Buchholz to return. Or maybe they'll just say, hey, Dempster, you want to be the tough guy? Go back out there and plunk A-Rod. This time hit him in the jaw, hit him in the head, really knock him out for good. We'll have to wait and see next week. We will be talking about that, I'm sure, as we see if the Yankees decide to get some revenge, or will they be their typical soft Yankees and not retaliate against the Red Sox?
Right.
Every time there's something going on there, they never retaliate. So we'll see what goes on there. Not much else.
Had kind of a scare the other night with Cano.
Yeah, with Cano, fouled one off his foot, but X-rays were negative, so we think he's all right. He's probably got limping around a little bit, sore foot. Ellsbury had the same deal last night. He came out of the game, X-rays negative as well. He did end up scoring the tying run. He stayed in after he fouled it off. Then he came out. Pedroia with the big 2-run hit in the 7th inning to tie it up. And then Saltalamacchia hit a double and the pinch hit. This has been a big thing for the Red Sox. Mike Carp, you got your roaming Gomes, Johnny Gomes coming in with pinch hits. They're getting big pinch hit support, and Mike Carp got the pinch hit last night for the win. They scored in the bottom of the 8th. 20th time, Bob, Red Sox win a game where they scored the winning run in their final at bat. 30th time this year they come from behind to win. They are the rally dogs up there, those Boston Dirt Dogs, getting it done late in games, getting it done when they fall behind. It doesn't bother them. They keep coming back. Their pitching has been very good. This Jake Peavy trade is really working out well for both Detroit and Boston. Iglesias playing extremely well for the Tigers. Jake Peavy, outstanding pitching performance, complete game shutout. He gave up 1 run, actually, it was against the Dodgers to end that road trip in LA Sunday night. So really, it's things are looking very good for the Red Sox right now. They got 18 out of their final 30 games at home. So, not too bad schedule-wise. The Tampa Bay Rays, they are in a stretch now where they're making up games. We talked about it last week, Bob. They were 4 games played behind how many the Red Sox had played. They made up 1 this week. They got shelled by Kansas City in a makeup game. They started a stretch at the beginning of this week, 37 games in 38 days to finish the season, Bob.
Wow.
So they are going to be pressed into action as they have not played as many games, and that's going to come back maybe to hurt them. We'll see what Tampa Bay can do down the stretch as they try to hold on to at least a wild card, if not catch the Red Sox and move back into the AL East lead. The Indians are really the only team. Kansas City, not really. They did too much damage to themselves with their losing streak. Cleveland, Baltimore, maybe the Yankees, Oakland, and Tampa Bay are those wild card teams. And that's what's going on in baseball. Football, Giants and the Patriots tonight. But really the talk this week has been what was going on with the Jets and the Giants last week.
And why did
sexy Rexy Ryan decides to pull a lame brain move. He wanted to win the Stupid Bowl, as it's been called by some of the media this week. He felt like, he channeled his inner Herm Edwards. Mm-hmm. We play to win the preseason game, Bob.
Right. And what do? We stick Sanchez in the fourth quarter.
He puts dirty Mark Sanchez, your starting quarterback, in the fourth quarter behind the scrubs.
Yeah.
And the Giants got scrubs who are fighting to make the team. So he's got no offensive line protection, and he gets beat to a pulp, injures his shoulder. His status for week 1 is in question. Geno Smith looks terrible.
Yeah.
Stepped out of bounds, didn't even know it for a safety, threw 3 interceptions, and he's not even going to start this week's game. You think he needs to start to get some reps with the first team unit, because he might have to play because Sanchez could be out.
Yeah.
Rex Ryan has lost full control of the team, and he's lost all respect from the media. If he hadn't lost it already, he lost it already. He lost it now because they went after him big time in this press conference, and you can just tell by the line of questioning. He didn't want to answer the questions, and they just kept coming at him, questioning his coaching decisions, and really just all over him. No respect whatsoever for the head coach of the Jets by the New York media. His days could really be numbered. Just a brutal decision by him to put Sanchez in the fourth quarter. Made no sense whatsoever. It may come down to a name that New York sports fans know well.
Who's that?
Sims.
Oh.
Third stringer Matt Sims trying to beat out the other third stringer McElroy. What's the other guy? Matt Sims has looked the best out of all these guys in the preseason. So he is fighting to make the roster, and if Geno Smith can't look good, and if Sanchez can't play, we might be going down the road of a Sims, Bob. What do you think about that for the Jets?
For Jets?
Crazy.
Yeah, that kind of...
Crazier things have happened, but it could happen.
This is true.
And, we'll see what happens with that. Other things going on, the Patriots, will Tim Tebow get cut? They play, of course, tonight. He needs to have a good showing because he has shown absolutely nothing so far in the first 3 games. So that's really the only story in New England. I think it's going to be the running game and the rookies. Aaron Dobson, receiver, could be the big thing. Tight ends, Gronkowski's looking to make a return maybe in week 3. Jake Ballard, they say he's healthy, but is he really healthy? They got some other young tight ends to look at there up in New England. But the running game, LeGarrette Blount, Brandon Bolden, Shane Vereen, Leon Washington, the return specialist, Stephen Ridley, Junior Edelman in the receiving corps with Danny Amendola. So new weapons in New England, and the defense will be the story up there in New England. The Jets, some of the things they're looking at tight end-wise, they bring in Kellen Winslow. Running backs, Bilal Powell, Chris Ivory, Joe McKnight. Good night.
Yeah.
Cut. And we will not be fearing the beard. Braylon Edwards, cut.
Yeah.
He's gone, not making a return.
Sounds like they got a few holes.
They got some holes. Wide receivers, Holmes is still hurt. They say he's a long way away, even though I think they took him off the PUP list. He did start to practice, I believe. Edwards is gone. Stephen Hill.
Yeah.
Jeremy Curley. Does these names strike fear in you, Bob?
No.
Didn't think so. How about your Giants? Victor Cruz took off the walking boot. Mm-hmm. So, looks like maybe he will be able to take on those. How about them Cowboys in week 1? Hakeem Nicks, Ruben Randall, Ramses Barden. They brought in Lewis Murphy. I think he was from the Raiders. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who's got talent. We'll see where he fits in. Your running back situation, David Wilson is the man.
Yeah.
But Andre Brown at times looked very good last year. So those are the new 1-2 punch, thunder and lightning, perhaps, of days gone by. As Ahmad Bradshaw is gone, he's not there anymore. New tight end Brandon Myers, and Bear Pasco. I don't know about that. Defense doesn't look like, I don't know. Are we going to be able to say they're consistent, Bob? They've had a lot of injuries in the preseason, a lot of guys going down.
We'll see what happens in the first couple weeks. Could be kind of iffy, but you never know.
You never know. We'll break down the schedule next week as we get further into that, but they do have those Cowboys in week 1. Patriots hit the Bills.
Yeah.
And who's going to be the QB for the Bills as all their QBs have gone down and gotten hurt? So that could be a nice way for the Patriots to take a look at their young players and new weapons for Tom Brady. Other stories in the NFL, just a quick, we'll stay in the AFC. Broncos and Wes Welker. We'll see how he fits in. The traitor out there in Denver, mile high, leaving the Patriots, crying about Belichick mistreating him and being too hard on him. Please, Wes. You really just, sound like a sad, pathetic human being when you say things like that. We just saw a quick flash of the Colts, second year for Andrew Luck. Will they suffer a slump? Sophomore slump. I'm sure their schedule will be tougher this year as they made the playoffs last year. Usually that means a tougher schedule this year. The Ravens, target on their back, and we know they lost, 13 starters from last year's Super Bowl team. How are they going to replace those defensive leaders, especially Ed Reed and my man Ray Lewis, the murderer?
Yeah. Speaking of murders, what's new in the Anderson?
Go read Rolling Stone magazine. Doesn't paint a pretty picture of Aaron Hernandez.
No.
I have long since forgotten who that man is. What about the Chiefs? Andy Reid, the new man on the block out in Kansas City. That's a big storyline. Alex Smith, of course, the new quarterback, which could be an even bigger story. They actually have a competent quarterback to lead the charge. They got weapons in Kansas City. They have a good defense. They got a great running back in Jamal Charles. We'll see if our buddy Kevin Gallagher starts calling soon. He's a big Chiefs fan. Fatty Roots, as a matter of fact, big Kansas City Chiefs fan. Maybe we'll get him to call in one week. So those are some of the big stories in the AFC. In the NFC, the Saints marching back into relevancy as Sean Payton makes his return to the sidelines after Bountygate last year and being suspended. They're going to be a good team, I would think, again this year. The Skins and RG3's.
Is RG3's leg healed, or
he's healed? He pronounced himself ready for week 1, all in. He's been sniping at his head coach, and his head coach then the Redskins go ahead and tweet it out. Super Bowl or bust. Don't they know that the Washington Nationals made the same thing in baseball? They proclaimed World Series or bust down there in D.C. this year.
Wait a minute. Breaking news, right?
What?
Well, where's the Super Bowl being held this year?
In New York, and the Farmer's Almanac predicts.
Well, Giants and Jets will be in the Super Bowl.
Well, the Farmer's Almanac did predict that, but they did predict a big storm for the week of the Super Bowl in the New York metropolitan area. Yeah, so we could be looking at a snowball.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Imagine we get about 3 feet of snow.
Maybe. Philadelphia Eagles have been garnishing a lot of attention, some for wrong reasons, other for the new coach. Mike Vick is the QB back on the block there, so we'll see what happens with the new offense, see if the Eagles can get back to maybe winning ways. Let's talk college football, Bob.
Yeah,
I am not even going to fake it and say I know what is going on with the UConn Huskies.
Yeah.
I don't even know who they play anymore. What conference are they in? What's the deal? I do know they play tonight.
Oh.
Towson versus UConn tonight. After tonight's game, I'll take a peek at it, see what they're doing. Maybe I'll hear some information about what the team is. And we'll try to find out what is going on with Paul Pasqualoni and his UConn Huskies this year in his 3rd season, Bob. The fans have him on a very short leash. Tonight, big game, North Carolina against number 6 South Carolina. Big division rivalry right there to start the season off, Bob.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Ole Miss versus Vandy. That's kind of a big game tonight. Rutgers, Big Ten bound, taking on Fresno State. Tomorrow night, Texas Tech versus SMU. I do believe SMU will be one of those teams that UConn has to get themselves familiar with this new conference, so you might want to take a sneak peek at them. Saturday, Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, the Heisman Trophy winner, will be suspended for the first half of the game against Rice. Number 7, Texas A&M. He's been garnishing a lot of attention this year in the offseason. Maybe he signed some autographs. Maybe he collected some money.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. They give him a slap on the wrist. They suspend him for the first half, Bob. Give me a break.
Right.
Saturday, a lot of big games, actually. Let's break it down real quick. 1 through 5 in the rankings. Bama, Ohio State, Oregon, Stanford, and Georgia. And Georgia, right out of the gate, gets to take on number 8, Clemson. Watch out now at Clemson. That's going to be a big game on Saturday night. Some other good games: Purdue, Cincinnati, BYU, Virginia, Mississippi State, Oklahoma State. Game I'm looking at: Penn State versus Syracuse. That's kind of an interesting game. Another game I find interesting: Temple, who UConn will familiarize themselves with, against Notre Dame. That's an interesting one. Wyoming, Nebraska, Boise State, Washington, LSU versus TCU. And then Sunday, wrap up that big college football weekend. I don't know why they're playing on a Sunday at 6 o'clock, but they are. Colorado versus Colorado State. The in-state rivalry. My Rams ready to roll.
How does your Rams look?
Much like UConn, I'm not quite sure. I will find out as they get this in-state rivalry against those Trust Fundalos underway. Let's talk a little tennis as we are running out of time. US Open underway. Big upset in round 1. Really an amazing. A lot of Americans in action this week, especially on the women's side, but even on the men's side, doing very well out of the gate. 10 women advanced out of that first round. Victoria Duval, Bob, unbelievable. She knocks off the 2011 champion Sam Stosur in round 1. She had in this match, she was up 5-4, ready to serve out the first set, and she was broken by Stosur, who then went on to win that first set, and it looked like Stosur was going to cruise. She was up 4-2 in the second set with game point on her racket to go up 5-2. She did not close it out. Duval broke her, rallied, won the second set 6-4, won the third set 6-4. The 17-year-old, born in Haiti, an American native, these days living in Florida, 17-year-old, really quite a great story right down there. Victoria Duval, of course, Sloane Stephens, she's into the third round. Christina McHale, she's into the third round, winning today. Venus was her name. She used to be a champion. Now she cannot advance out of the second round. Been a long time since she's done damage, and she lost a tough 3-set match in a tiebreaker last night against Zhang Ji of China. So she goes out in the second round. Loser. Serena wins today. She's into the third round. So the Williams sisters really is only a one-person punch at this point. On the men's side, James Blake, he played his final U.S. Open. He has always been a fan favorite down there in New York, and he lost a 5-set thriller. Only way for him to go out in a thrilling match. He was up 2-0, and he could not hold on, lost that 5th set. So we say goodbye to the American James Blake, who has provided some very good moments down there in the tennis at the U.S. Open. I do believe we are out of time, so that is it for us. Next week, we'll get farther and farther into football, see if the Yankees are clinging to life or if the Red Sox are moving farther away in that AL East as they get ready for that 4-game series in Yankee Stadium. We'll see you next week. Take it easy.